Hello, everybody. Welcome to the June 24 meeting of the Oak Hills Park Authority, regular meeting of the Oak Hills Park Authority. Good to see everybody. Um, I think we should just get things going because it is a very, very pretty evening. And I think we would all like to get to it, but we do have some business to attend to. So I'll start things off with a call to order, and I'll just, for attendance purposes, list off the folks who are here and their roles. From the Oak Hills Park Authority, we have Alan Dutton, Vice Chair, Denise Brown, Treasurer. We also have members Rich Dellinger, Gary Leeds, and TJ Trimboli, and myself, Joe Andrasco, the chair. So that's 6 members present. We have a quorum and we can do business and make votes. For staff present, we have Jim Holliday, the general manager, Paul Alexander, the golf professional, Jim Shell, the superintendent, and Mark Gartner, the controller. Robert Stowers, Oak Hills Park Authority member, also just joined. So we have 7 members present and still have a quorum. Hi, Robert. We also have present John Lloyd from O'Dean's, who will hopefully give us a very good restaurant report a little bit later. And I believe that's everybody. Next up is acceptance of minutes from the 5/16 regular meeting. Let's do a motion and then discuss, and then we'll vote. So can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Okay. And a second?
Do you,
Gary
do you want any corrections?
Yeah. The perfunctory way to do it is get the motion, get the second, then discuss. So I'll kick off under call to order, and in a couple of places, my last name is spelled Androsko. It should be Asko. Actually, I should have started here. Under attendance, my first name is Joe, not John. And so those two things should be fixed throughout. But then, kind of more substantively, on page, which page is this? Page 6, under item E, the restaurant report, it looks like there's some repetition. And so I think the easiest solution is for the second and third paragraphs to be struck. One is repeated, and the second seems to be a conglomeration of 2 paragraphs that are present elsewhere. Those were the big edits that I saw. But open for anyone else. Denise, did you have some?
Yes, I'm sorry, I just wanted to find it. The report for the management report. Under golf operations, there's the long paragraph, and then the second paragraph just says, Mr. And it doesn't have a name, so I don't know who was speaking at that moment. I don't know if it was you, Gary. It just says Mr. Nobody wanted to know how the first tee would work. I don't know who actually was speaking at that point. I don't know if anybody remembers.
What page are you on, Denise?
Don't remember.
Page 2.
Page 2. It's the second paragraph after Mark's. Sorry.
It would be on YouTube if anyone wanted to review.
Vaguely remember Gary asked me about that.
Okay. You can put my name in.
Okay.
Okay.
I
So
still
that
don't
should
know
be-
how it would work.
That should be Mr. Leeds. And the question remains. Any other revisions?
Yeah, and then on page 5, when I was speaking, the last paragraph, it says, I was speaking about the youth program with Darlene Young. I would just like to add that the youth program is sponsored by the city of Norwalk. And they would be, if we had gone forward with it, they would be the paying for the youth who would be working at wherever they would be working. So it's not our program, it is the City of Norwalk's youth program, work program.
Got it. Maybe you can
Let me
send an
email-
email to Mark with the
Okay.
wording you'd like for that sentence, and he can send it along to Telesco.
Okay. Thank you.
Just
Any
a
other
couple,
edits?
couple other things I saw in attendance. I think McAllister needs her first name, Jen added.
Yeah, there's only,
It's actually there, but it's all the way over to the left.
Yeah.
There's a weird.
Oh, I
place
didn't
that-
see it. Thank you. Got it.
Yeah.
yeah, but on that note too, there's only one C in McAllister, not two.
Thanks. And just at the end of the golf operations report on page 2, it said, Mr. Dellinger asked how many more golfers staff did Mr. Alexander need? And Mr. Alexander replied, I would just put a period after replied. I know 38 is the total. It's not the number more. So if we could just cut off the 38 at the most, put a period, it would just make more sense.
Okay, so that sentence can end at replied.
Yeah.
I have one thing to add. Again, at the top of the first page under staff, Jim Holiday was not in attendance because he had internet problems. I think they meant to write Jim Shell, superintendent there, should replace Jim Holiday, general
That's
manager.
completely true, and I completely missed it. Yep.
I don't think, Jim, you weren't there last month.
Oh, he wasn't.
Jim
Neither,
Shep, right?
neither Jim was, right?
That's
Oh.
right.
I was not there, and so I don't know if Jim Shell was.
I was not.
Okay.
Oh,
So it was
All
just
right.
Mark Gardner, controller, Paul Alexander, golf pro. That's it.
That's it.
Any others? Okay, other than those edits, they were perfect.
There's one other thing. I don't know if you caught it. Sorry, Joe. I had to find it. It's page 6. The third paragraph starts the second sentence of it didn't make any sense to me. There's something about evolved in some of the, I don't know. This was, oh, did you eliminate those? Those are the paragraphs you eliminated.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, got it.
Sort
That's
of
fine.
elides
Okay,
into
that's it.
a remnant of the first
That's
paragraph.
it. You took it out. I forgot. Yep, that's fine.
No problem. Okay, voice vote. All in favor of the minutes with the revisions, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Okay, I think that's unanimous. Those minutes with the revisions will be the official record. So moving on to public comment. I am checking in the participants. We have one attendee. It is Sound Solutions Events.
that's Tom Sacco.
Okay. Tom, if you'd like to make any public comment, can you please raise your hand in the meeting? There's a hand. Jim, can you promote to speaker?
I could if I could find him here. I don't see him listed as a participant.
I think he was just gonna listen.
You don't see it? Well, raise the
Oh, here we
hand.
go, here we
for
go.
a-
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I got it. Excuse me. Tom, you are welcome to speak if you'd like.
Can you hear me?
We can. And
We can.
for public comment, just please state your full name, address, and we'll try to keep each comment to 3 minutes.
Thomas Sacco, 252 Phyllis Norwalk. I'm an employee of Oak Hills. That's it. I just wanted to sit in on the meeting.
Oh, great. Welcome. Okay, I
Joe,
don't
I would
see
like to
any-
make, I'd like to make a comment, Joe, if I may.
Jim Holiday, address, and 3 minutes, please.
11 Roland Avenue. And I would just like to personally thank Joe Andrasco for helping me in my first year as general manager and being a great leader. And besides a personal thanks, a thanks from the club and for all you've done for 6 years.
Definitely.
2, 3. Yep. You'll be missed. We appreciate your efforts and personally wish you very well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, very much so.
That's very sweet, very kind. Let's get on with it then.
Get on with it.
Oh no, next is the report of the chair. Shoot. Okay, so let's do that. Although it is a beautiful evening, I'd love to get out there. I'll probably take an extra 1 or 2 minutes tonight. So this is going to be my last meeting. I'm termed out after today, after the 24th, I suppose. Yeah, and past year plus, been serving as chair, before that treasurer, before that just board member. And as chair, I don't think I was a particularly exceptional chair, but we were able to get a lot of good things done and be effective because we have really superior staff and a great board. Everybody participates, everybody contributes. All the management are pros at what they do. So can't thank everybody enough. Most importantly, Alan, who has been a huge support as vice chair for the past year plus. It's been great working with you, great working with everybody. So thank you, Alan. Thank you, everyone. I was musing on this, and I think I've said it to some people that I think I'm the last person since 2019 or maybe 2018 to serve a full 6-year stint on the authority. It would be great if we could keep that. Like if we could have more people fill the 6-year term. The continuity, the institutional knowledge is so important to have folks who've been around for a couple of years, as well as new folks coming in who are going to be around for a couple of years. The handoff of knowledge, the conversations that can happen, so much better. So I really hope that can continue, and I can kind of set a precedent of that continuity. Highlights for me of the past 6 years were building a really productive and cooperative relationship with the city of Norwalk. It wasn't always there. It wasn't always like this. And in no small part due to the inclusion recently of Robert Stowers, that is only kind of growing, and it's actually been really good. It's been really, really productive. We've been able to get things done that we couldn't have done 5-10 years ago. So that's something that's got to kind of continue. We brought in Jim Holiday. He's been fantastic. He's been the glue, like per design. It was a hope that role would function that way, and it really has. And so thank you, Jim. We've kind of brought relative financial stability, I'd call it, and maybe I'm being a little too modest there. This wasn't any one person. This certainly wasn't me. I have to put credit to Carl Dickens, who was the chair before me, who navigated through the pandemic when I was the treasurer. He was a dynamo through the pandemic, figuring out how to make things run. Really strong credit to him. And then Bill Waters, Jane Walters, Jerry Crowley, negotiating a revised repayment plan with the city based on number of rounds played. And we tinkered with it with the city a little bit, made it a little bit less generous to us, more generous to them, but fair in all ways. But that was a game changer as well. So those two things, I think, contributed way more than anything. And then a resurgence of golf coming from COVID. three things, really just kind of serendipitous, but have to continue it. Then the fourth thing, kind of accomplishment, the new restaurant, which I've been to a few times already. It's a game changer. It's different. I know it's going to be great. It's going to be a success. That third thing, the financial stability, I think, with an eye towards the future, keep it going. Watch expenses really closely. Have to. The expenditures have to be supported to maintain the product, and to augment revenue. If those two things are there, I think, it's a good expense. And then I really hope you can get through some of the things that I wasn't able to get through. Revising bylaw, and some more boring things, but important things, revising bylaws, getting through a long-range planning, and keeping investing in the physical plant, making sure the buildings are there, making sure the course is there. And then the last thing, which was my dream when I set foot in my first meeting, simulators. I know not everybody loves them, but I think they would be great. Along with that, maybe figuring out something to do with the old administrative building down by the first tee. That's all I got. Just kind of thinking, musing out loud about where we've been, where we're going. Also, I'm not going anywhere. I've told Alan a few times, call me, email me. I'll even pop into these meetings, and if appropriate, I can chime in if there's anything like that. But after I'm done, I will not be chair. There will only be one chair. I won't butt in. I'll only butt in if asked. End of chairman's report. Thanks,
So
everybody.
Joe, I'd just like to say just a couple of words, and I won't take very long at
Sure.
all. Speaking as a relative rookie compared to TJ, Denise, Jennifer, I am a relatively rookie on the the authority. I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank you so much for all you've done. I've got to know you pretty well. Is it 3 years?
Yeah.
I think about 3 years altogether. So you were kind of my glue, to be very honest with you. Your financial help, acumen with the budgets, and your philosophy always write a budget that's definitely achievable so you'll look good. Your help with that was fantastic. Your relationship with the city has been so important to us. Your demeanor, the way of doing things, your clear thinking, your friendliness, and everything has been really great. And I've really enjoyed working with you. And by the way, I'm definitely going to take you up on getting advice, because I'm scared to death of anybody sticks their hand up and how do I promote them and all that good stuff. However, I'm sure we will get through it. But I just wanted to say, from my point of view, thank you so much. And it's going to be not an easy thing, but you've made it easier. And thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we can close that off and let's pop into management reports. We can start with the golf pro, Paul Alexander.
All right. Thank you, Joe. Well, Memorial Day has passed. The kids are out of school and summer is definitely here. We've had such a high demand for tee times. I've moved the close time for tee times to 6:30, and we don't typically do that till about this time of year. So we got a lot of golfers on the golf course, and that's bringing in some additional revenue. Just a few notes here. Our utilization numbers have been great. The last 34 days, we've had 92.5% golfers utilizing our course. 65% of those days, we've had a utilization rate of 95% or more. So we've been extremely busy. We have 36 golf members and staff members. That'll be it for the year. I believe this is the best staff I've seen in my 13 years at Oak Hills Park. Our 2024 new hires have really helped our golf operation a lot. Our second year staff members have been extremely helpful as well. And Steve Shepard's efforts, his expertise has also been a tremendous added benefit to the golf operation, as well as the addition of Jim Holiday. And I'm seeing some other great things going on. As Assistant Superintendent Tiz Sithol's been great out there. O'Dean's has been such a great benefit. People are happy. And I will say that the past few years, we've had rain delays. Everybody goes home. No, not anymore. We had some good couple rain delays. Everybody kind of went to the restaurant and didn't ask for those credits on their golf rounds, and they went out and back and played. So I think that's a real great benefit for us. We sold 1,100 memberships year to date. We normally finish about 1,250. We're up about 10% this year. I think greens fees are up 3% since last year, and carts might be down just a little bit. But we've had 5 outings this year. We have 12 more to go. They've been going really well. We actually recently added 2 new outings this year, Stanford Police Department and Hoffman Landscaping, and we might even have another one coming. Last week, we had a Titleist ball fitting for Oak Hill Men's Golf Association members. Golf Now has definitely been helpful. Things are going well there, and they're continuing to drive a lot of golfers to our course. Someone mentioned to me today how great our carts look. We've had them for years, and they still look really new. The new warm-up bays, people are using those constantly, so it's another great benefit to the operation. Artificial turf down at the range has really been a big benefit for our beginner golfers and all our clinics there. And I really expect things to remain very busy. Numbers look good. Golf is thriving, and we have lots and lots of demand for tee times. So I think it's going to be a great year at Oak Hills.
Great. Thanks, Paul. Any questions for Paul? All right. We can move on to the superintendent, Jim Shell. I think I know what he's going to talk about most.
Well, I mean, I was in on those texts before, and I thought, you know, we can get right into questions if you want. I mean, the watering issue, I don't know if you all know, but we're restricted now to watering with city water only on Tuesdays and Saturdays. And we're already starting to see the effects of not being able to supply enough for the grass on a nightly basis. And it's only June. It's July and August are going to be brutal. So we need to find a solution to this pronto. Jim, I know you had like an agenda for me earlier, but I'm tired. I forgot most of the stuff that you had asked me to mention. But if there's any questions about this stuff, shoot, I can answer questions, no problem.
Just to clarify, the restriction isn't actually related to lack of rain, right? This is just a blanket restriction for
this is a citywide irrigation restriction, Tuesdays and Saturdays for odd numbered addresses, Wednesdays and Sundays for even numbered addresses. They don't seem to be taking into consideration that, in fact, this is a business that relies in a way on agriculture. You're right, we're not providing food for the well-being of people, but it is a business that relies on irrigation for money. Now, when I got here in 2013, we had a number of dead fairways, and business wasn't exactly, you know, busting through the seams. And you know, it's gonna, at some point, it's gonna affect our business if we can't get back on a regular schedule, especially when there's no water restrictions. I do understand that, like Westchester County, they do allow their golf courses to water freely, and as drought restrictions become more severe, the percentages of what the golf courses use go down. And that's, you know, it makes sense. It's obvious.
Yeah.
Aquarian Water Company has what they call a large property and a golf course variance. And I haven't been able to contact anybody that actually has these variances, but I think that the point is to excuse these properties from the watering restrictions, making a note of when drought conditions do start to occur, that reductions in water usage do occur. It's going to be a tough situation. We're going to need help from the mayor, the council. We're not sure. I think we've got to go there though, like soon.
Alan, I can see you speaking, but I think you're on mute.
So Jim, correct me if I'm wrong. SNEW is the people who supply us with our water, right?
Correct.
No, are they? Joe, help me out. Is SNEW anything to do with the city? Is it the second taxing district? What is their are they an authority? What is their relationship? Are they a for profit entity as such, like Aquarian?
I don't know the ins and outs of their structure. I know, yes, it is second taxing district, and it's related in with city appointments.
Right. So, I mean, is there any way, and I'm just speaking out loud now, that we, as an authority, we could approach that authority and say, you know, we are somewhat maybe a little different than a regular address.
I've reached out to Alan Huth, who is the CEO and general manager of SNEW. I haven't heard a thing back, and I think that
Robert, I don't know if you're on, Robert. Is there any experience you've had in your experience in Seattle with, you know, well, maybe you didn't have any drought conditions in Seattle because it's raining all the time. But I don't know if you have anything any experience in these issues or any suggestions you may have. Robert, I don't know if, what your thoughts are on this.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sure. Yeah, I think my suggestion is that, you know, if it's going to hurt revenue and it's going to hurt rounds of play, it's going to hurt our business, then it's going to hurt the city as well, because, you know, and I think from that standpoint, we put something together for Sanu, try to at least come up with some kind of analysis. They also approached us to stop our watering in their areas. So not stop it, but put restrictions on it just recently. But you know, our parks aren't necessarily you know, they're not there to earn a lot of money. It's not the same kind of business. So I would think put together some kind of you know, cost benefit analysis and approach them. I would support that. And I think the mayor would. We can Tom Livingston. We can go to him as well. I meet with him almost once a week. So I think we could bring some pressure on Sanu to be more flexible.
Okay. So I think maybe if you know, Jim, Shell, Jim Holiday, myself, and maybe Mark, we'll get together, draft something up. Maybe I'll shoot it to you, Robert. Just take a look at it, see what your thoughts are on it, and once you take a look at it, once we craft a document, and then maybe we can take it from there.
Definitely, I can do
Jim,
that.
you okay with that? Jim Shell, Jim Holiday.
Sure.
If I may, I did speak to Randy Avery about it, and he advised that we've got to meet with the mayor. But Robert basically said the same thing. We've got to do everything we can to convince the mayor that this is something that is a benefit to the city, and hope that he will come to our assistance. So I agree, Alan. I think you and I and Jim Shell should put together, and Mark, certainly Mark,
my only guidance in that would be stress the fact that you're not requesting an unrestricted watering policy.
No.
It's just a what is it, 3 days a week, 4 days a week? Anything that would help would be very, very useful.
Yeah, definitely, especially at the moment when there isn't any restrictions. Obviously, when restrictions come in we will obviously be the same, and you know, be good conservators, etc., etc., etc. We'll
Yeah.
put some dollars to it as basically number of rounds we may lose because of loss of use. Blah blah blah.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
I got
Yeah,
it.
you have to put, I think we have to put a good story together. And as I stated, you know, meet with Tom, and then Tom set up, Tom will then can set up a meeting with the mayor and whoever, Jim or whoever wants to attend. I think that I would be, you know, I would be available too to meet at the same time. So
I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. Okay.
I have one other question. I just have one question for Jim Schelt. Does this affect the tennis courts too, Jim? Has there been restrictions on the tennis courts, or is it not?
They're supposed to be. I mean, it is irrigation.
So
We-
you
we-
may
we
want
have-
to, yeah, I don't know, that you may want to include that in your document. I mean, if it's gonna, I mean, it affects
Of
both, it
course,
would
I
be.
mean, I'm
I would
gonna try and include as much as I can. I mean, that there's so many areas on the golf course that have the ability to be irrigated. And I have never used 100% of the system that we have. Maybe I've gotten to 90% just because there's areas of the rough that are way out of the way that have irrigation, but there is absolutely no need to spend money on that because it's not in play, so to speak. So, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I feel like we've already been doing the conservation, and I don't think that, you know, I don't really want to compromise on 4 days a week because that's not going to do it either. But we'll talk more about that offline. That's
Yeah.
Okay. Thank
Yeah,
you.
that wasn't a proviso. That wasn't a recommendation for what the request should be. That was just, you know, spitballing.
Sure.
Wherever you end up, as long as it's more than what's currently in place.
Yeah.
right. Yep.
I suggest that you add in what we've already been doing in terms of conserving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we've already been doing this. This is how, if we continue, if we follow these rules, it's going to hurt us in this way. Number of rounds, dollars, what have you. And then it's going to impact the city
Right.
in a way too. So
Right.
I think you
Number of rounds will be down, and we pay the city based on the number of rounds, so we can put together some financial impact. Okay, got it.
Maybe we can meet on the 10th fairway tomorrow. Funny.
I got the reference.
I'm done. I mean, that's my biggest concern right now. So if
Yeah.
anybody has questions about anything else in my report, shoot.
Anyone? Okay. Thank you, Jim. On to Mark.
Okay. First, I just want to say, Joe, I'll miss our relationship. I know we've worked closely together in the past, and I'm still going to send you my financials at the end of the month.
And I'll review them.
Yeah, there you go. And Joe, you already touched on this a little bit, but you know, just part of what I have here is, you know, we're doing very well. May was another great month, and we consistently or nearly every month are beating our budget on revenues and rounds and so forth. But we're also up on expenses. I just want to drive that home. You know, in total, we're up way higher on revenue than we are in overspending budget, but overspending expenses. But just want to keep an eye on that as we go forward, because next year we're going to be up with we're going to have a lot of expenditures on CapEx, and we just have to be careful with that. The only thing I want to add is that I've scheduled the audit for the week of July 22nd, and I've sat down. Denise and I sat down with Rob Danielle, the new audit partner, and we stressed the issues that we had this past year, especially with getting a late report. I don't think that should be an issue this year. And I'm happy to report that mid-June, I'm already working on the audit. I've never done, in the 7 years I've been here, I've never been working on the audit before July. I've already got the directory set up, and I'm setting up files, doing stuff that I was normally be doing in July or August. So I predict a good audit, and I think the report, we should have a record report this year, hopefully, knock on wood. That's it for me.
Well, Mark, could I ask one thing basically? And
Yeah.
basically, could you ask our auditors if they audit any other municipal golf courses in this area? Because the auditors I've worked with over the past 35 years, they audit a lot of other golf courses and they provide us comparison figures. Now, they don't name the places, but they do they do give us these comparisons. And it wouldn't harm to ask them if they audit any other entities and if they'd be willing to, share that information, not naming the place, obviously, but just for comparison purposes. If you could ask that question.
Sure, I could do that. Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah,
Idea.
good idea.
Anything else for Mark? Okay, we'll hear from Mark again when we get to budget. And then we're on to Jim Holiday.
I would just like to say thanks to Paul Alexander, Mark Gartner, and Jim Shell, because they've got so much under control. I feel like this is my first beginning of the new golf season. I started last July, and as you can see from my report, I'm kind of all over the place. And that's good because that's what the general manager does. It's been great also working with John Lloyd and all of his staff. It is so exciting to go into the restaurant and see people in there laughing and having a great time. He's assembled a tremendous staff. Someone alluded to our weather break the other day. There was a gal Lori, who was running the front of the house for John, was there, thank goodness. And a gal who'd been working about a week. They had 50 guys at the bar at once, and they managed it so well. Everybody was happy. They knew they were going to have to wait a minute, but it was a minute because the system is really, really well tuned. So I've been very involved with the tennis operation, and more so, pitching in with the outings and helping where I can. Jim Shell and I meet all the time. Mark and I meet all the time. It's I'm learning that it's a big job. It's a big job. There's a lot to be done.
I think so.
And I think that we're doing a pretty darn good job. And again, I'm one of the team, and you guys all support me. Alan is very supportive when I've got challenges. I give him a ring because of his experience. Jerry Crowley's been helping me since the day I arrived. It's always great to stop into the pro shop and throw a few questions his way. So it's still fun. It's just become a lot more work. But I think I'm ready for it. So now I guess I get to say, all right, fire your questions at me.
Don't forget to take some time off during the winter, okay?
That's the important thing.
You got to sneak time away whenever you can.
Yeah, okay. My wife likes to remind me of that too, but she says, but anyway.
I see you sneaking on the tennis court Saturdays and Sunday mornings.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
I'm working, Rich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Expecting.
You're collecting a few golf balls here and there, right? So.
No, I'm built. Yep.
Any specific questions for Jim? Okay.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks, Jim. Stick around for just a couple more minutes, please.
Yeah.
With that, we can close management reports and go into committee reports. And as per tradition, it's always tennis first. So Denise, please go ahead.
Good evening, everybody. Let's see. So we have a couple of things to mention for tonight. We have a volunteer, Chris Halsey, and he is working on setting up a men's tournament for September. We would like to do this a 4-0 tournament, so we would like talented players to come and play. It would be for a weekend in September. It's still in the progress, but it would be probably a draw of 32 players. We would advertise this out to local Norwalk players. We want to try to keep it as local as possible and not extend it out to, I mean, there might be the surrounding towns that we would get players, but we really kind of want to focus on Norwalk players to bring this in. We would do it on a Friday night. We would start, and then we would have the final. So the players who get eliminated, we would like to also offer them like a elimination round so that they don't just come and play one round. We would be charging for this. We would be giving out a cash prize for the singles and for the finalist player. So that's in the process. So there'll be more to come on that. Going to be working on the fall youth program again. That will start right after Labor Day, I hope, and we'll have a program for the children from age 6 through 12. Last year we had tripled the amount of kids, so we'll be hoping to get at least that number of 32, 35 players and maybe work off of that. I've been working with David Kamani, and he is the program director for Grassroots. And he asked me if he could host a tournament at Oak Hills in October. So he would be running the tournament. He would just like to use our facilities, which I think would be wonderful to have his kids come, watch them play. It would be a weekend tournament on a Saturday and a Sunday, and it would be something like 8 o'clock in the morning till about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So it would just be for 2 days. I don't have the date yet, but it would be in October. And our supporters account is very good right now for tennis, at least. We have $52,223. Most of that is already spoken for. $24,000 is going to go for the walkways and the apron around the building. $23,750 is going to be the match for the donation for the new fencing. It's to match the USTA donation. And then we have about $4,500. And we have a copy of Art's plaque that was put together by our communications director for the Friends of Tennis. He designed a beautiful plaque for Art. And so I'd like to show everybody. Mark, do you have that you could show?
Yeah, here we go.
And so this is a plaque
That's
that we're going to do in the bronze, or the, it's a bronze plaque. And it will be mounted on a flat stone. And we are in the process of having it done. It should be ready by the end of July, beginning of August. And so we hope to have Art's dedication on our Labor Day tournament, which is Labor Day weekend, on the Monday of Labor Day. But it's a lovely plaque, and it's
It is.
Very nice, very nicely worded.
Yeah. So he did a great job. And so we're very happy with the way it turned. Hopefully we'll be very happy with the way it turned out. So. And that's the report for now.
Great, thank you. Any questions for Denise? All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Denise. When you said, sorry, one question. The 4-0 tournament, that's players rated 4.0 and up?
4.0 and above, yeah. So we'd like to have, a good level of
Yeah,
tennis.
no, that's very good.
Yeah.
I was recently demolished by a 3.5, so I can only imagine what 4.0 is like.
I didn't know you played tennis.
I don't. That's why I was demolished.
And Joe, I want to thank you for all your help. You've been very open-minded, and you do have a good way of communicating to everybody. So it's been very much appreciated. So you've been a positive force in everything that you wind up doing. So it's been great.
Thank you, Denise.
Yeah.
We can move on to supporters update from Jerry Crowley.
I don't have a formal report tonight, but I will get together with Mark over the next month or so and see if we can put together where we are with the fiscal year. And Joe, good luck. Thank
Thank
you
you.
for all your hard work and everybody else that's involved.
Of course. Thank you.
And one thing to say about that too is that Denise Brown is actually also kind of transitioning to do more supporters work as well to assist. Is that fair to say, Denise?
Yeah. 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 Elsa put me on the, allowed to put me on the account, which is great. So it's
Great.
hopefully it'll be a little extra help for you, Mark.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe hindrance, but hopefully helpful.
No.
So
Hey, we'll look forward to that, Denise.
thank you, Jerry.
Okay. Moving on to Nature Advisory Committee. I don't see anyone. Mark, I don't know if you have anything to add.
I'll just do a very quick one. Nobody could make it from the Nature Committee tonight. I'll just say thanks to the Nature Committee and specifically to Lori Morrison and the Norwalk Garden Club for and as well as to Tiz, our assistant super, for really helping to get the mulch around the area. They've been weeding and planting new plants, and they're going to put some more in the next week. We still have quite a bit left in the nature budget for this fiscal year, which is done in 10 days. So we're going to make a couple $100 worth of purchases for some new plants, and they're going to volunteer and put them in there. So it's really going very well, and there'll be some more meetings with the Nature Committee in the next few months.
Great. Next up is the nominating committee. And I'm the chair of that, and Jim McAllister is with me. And I can just kind of talk about the slate that we have, and then we have an item of business below to actually vote on it. But just to introduce the idea for folks to have a couple of minutes to stew on it. Everybody made it very easy on me. We have 3 roles. I had 3 responses. And so the slate that we'll vote on in a minute is Alan Dutton as chair, Rich Dellinger as vice chair, and Denise Brown as treasurer, who is already in the treasurer role. So like I said, it was fairly easy because everybody just kind of slotted into a spot fairly naturally. And that's the business of the nominating committee. So, any questions? It's fairly straightforward. So let's move on to the actual voting stuff. First up is the budget vote. We reviewed the budget fairly extensively last meeting. And I think, and Mark, you can correct me if I'm wrong, there aren't that many edits to it. We did discuss some, but there are some little tinkers that I think you were to do. So if you could kind of just note the big line items, and then, we should motion. Can I get a motion to review and accept the budget that we have put together?
Make a motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
Okay, I'll say Denise motioned and TJ seconded. So then, Mark, please go ahead.
Sure, thank you. The changes are very, very minimal. The one was to this line here, cart revenue, we took it down by $10,000. Everyone pretty much agreed it was a little bit too high. We took down our tenant rent, the front entrance house rent, just by $600. Those are the only actual changes. Then, Joe, you had requested down below just for a layout, just to kind of break out unrestricted operational cash versus restricted capital reserve cash, which is now listed out here. So that's where we expect to end up with our cash balance at the end of the year. This went from basically 425 or 426,000 to 415,000. And the big things to note here is that we're pretty conservative in both the revenue and expense increases. But the big nut for next year is the CapEx and commercial debt items, meaning the leased equipment for the maintenance staff. And the lead runner there is obviously the bunker program that we're going to be doing. That is the bulk of the CapEx. So that will cause a negative cash effect of about $172,000. We know it, and it's the thing is with something like this where if halfway through the year we are suffering on revenues, we can kind of hold back on some of our additional purchases and to offset any additional negative cash effects. Are there any lingering questions?
Mark, when you say year end, you're talking about the fiscal year end here?
Sorry, yes, everything here is fiscal year, and the fiscal year to everyone watching at home, it begins July 1st of 2024 and will end on June 30th, 2025. So our fiscal year that we're talking about begins in I think 11 days.
Right.
So in 10 days, we're going to have $706,000 in the bank, unrestricted, 53,000 in the reserve account for only capital things, expenses. And over the course of the next year, we're going to have 415 net operating income. We're going to spend 301 on other debt and cash, and that'll leave us with 114. And then we're going to spend 286 on capital projects, and our cash is going to go down 172 grand, and we're still going to have 514,000 in the bank on expenses of 2.1 million.
Just about. Yep. Everything you said, accurate for what's budgeted. Yes.
So our cash will still be about a quarter of our expenses, which is a ratio that I think was dreamable, but not legitimately several years ago. So that's, I think this is exactly what I wanted to see. And I know I've already seen it before, but exactly what I wanted to see. I think, continue this for budgets going forward. This is a really useful view.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, thanks for the suggestion, and I'll be doing this going forward.
I think it was Gary actually suggesting it. But yeah, it turned out great.
I think if I could just say what I found interesting, looking at the gray line, the total net cash effect going back 4 or 5 years, year of COVID, we were able to put $445,000 excess cash, and the year after that, our cash went down 45,000. Year after that, net effect on cash was another 286,000. Then it cost us 140,000, and then another 41,000 minus, and next year 172. Just to show kind of the ups and downs and how great COVID was for us. But cash wise, we go from 487 down to 372. 612, 430, 705, 514. Just, I think some interesting stuff there.
Yeah. And over that time period, a net increase, right? We went from 487 to 514. Not much, not keeping up with inflation, but still.
But there was no unrestricted at the time, so I say you have to
count
full cash balance there. So
yeah,
that's fair. Okay. If there's no questions, I will put it to. Oh, thanks, Mark. That puts everybody on the screen.
Yep.
If there's no other questions, I'll put it to a roll call vote, and I'll just call out names, and you can say. The question is, do you approve this budget? You can say yes, no, or abstain. So start with Mr. Future Chair. Alan Dutton.
Yes.
Denise Brown.
Yes.
Rich Dellinger.
Yes.
Gary Leeds.
Yes.
Robert Stowers.
Yes.
TJ Trimboli.
Yes.
And Joe Andrasco. No. Jen McAllister.
Yes.
And Joe Andrasco votes yes. So that's a unanimous approval of the budget. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Denise. I know this was a lot of work. And thank you, Jim and Paul as well, for your inputs to it.
thank you.
Okay, so that's done. Next up is election of executive committee, which was referenced in the nominating committee. And so I'll make a motion to vote to elect Alan Dutton as chair, Rich Dellinger as vice chair, and Denise Brown as treasurer. May I get a second?
I second.
All right, TJ seconds. Any questions? Any discussion?
Are we allowed to vote, or are we supposed to keep quiet?
No, you're supposed to vote.
We're supposed to
Mhm.
Just asking, yeah.
We wouldn't have a quorum if you were.
If you don't vote,
Yeah, I
yeah.
guess, yes, you're kind of voting for yourself, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, we would. Okay, if there's no questions, I'm just going to put it to a voice vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a good thing for you guys. And any abstain? Okay, so it's unanimous. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, everybody.
Congratulations.
And Joe, you will be missed. You were
Thank
awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Of course. And then we discussed item C, the water restrictions, but it's here on the agenda. So if there's any lingering things that people wanted to bring up, now's the time.
Well,
I'm
I
just
have-
curious. Go ahead, Denise.
Well, I have a question. I don't know if it's a dumb question, but Jim, do you have wells that you draw on?
I wish.
Okay, so we don't have any wells?
Not that feeds the irrigation supply pond.
Is that something that's possible to do?
They did drill 2. Each of them went 510 feet and did not produce any significant amount of water that would make a big difference. I mean, it would make a difference, but not a big difference in what we buy. And it really wouldn't, it wouldn't change the dynamic that we'd still be dependent on municipal water.
Jim, I had a question just about the historical thing. Is this the first time it's happened this early? And do you know why?
I'd love to give you an answer on that, but I think that, yeah, well, this
I
is
think,
this
Jim,
is the first
if I
time
can
they've
take a
called
stab
me
at
and
it.
said that
Jim,
you've got a fine coming if you do it again, and we're gonna shut you off if you do it after that.
Yeah.
And that
It just strikes me it started very early this year, this earlier than I've ever heard it. I've never seen even anything
Well,
in the
right,
news.
Rich, to
there's
be
not
clear,
even any kind of water shortage anywhere, and
this
they're
does
on
not have to do with the water shortage, right? This is just
this
a
is
date-based
purely
restriction between
an
certain
irrigation
dates of the year.
schedule that they're putting forth as the rule of the land. Yeah.
And just another question to follow up. I know, there's that pond that we draw water from that pond and off the back. That's affected too, or you can still use that or not?
I do still use it, yes. I'm
Okay.
allowed to take up to 50,000 gallons out of it per day.
Oh,
And right now, with this heat wave, that's only covering greens and teas.
I got it. Okay.
That's it.
So Jim, if you find out that there is going to be restrictions for the tennis center, you got to let us know.
Well, there is, and maybe we'll talk on a phone call tomorrow about that. But
one of the things that could go into that note is that I believe we have a contractual obligation.
Well, that's what I was
maintain them.
thinking. Yeah, with Kings Highway. Yeah, I don't
It
see
just
how you
kind
could
of adds. It's not a persuasive on its own, but I do think it adds. Like, listen, there are contracts in place that require us to water off those hours.
Right.
That predated this restriction, right?
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
It's been in the contract for years.
you tell them that.
Like I said, it's contributive. It's not persuasive.
It's another point of.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then Jim, you alluded to it, but and I know the answer, but for everybody, what happens? So they contacted us and said, hey, you went over your limit at the wrong times of day. And then, so what's the escalation, the penalties?
Okay, so I watered on a Wednesday night and a Thursday night, and on Friday morning I got a phone call saying we noticed that you watered the last 2 nights, used quite a bit of water. We do have an irrigation schedule. It's Tuesday and Saturday. You're watering outside that schedule. If you do it again, there will be a fine. And a third time, we will shut off your water. What was the question?
Yeah, that was it.
That was the answer.
What happens? That's exactly it. You answered it.
Okay.
That was the answer.
So yeah, that would be.
I've never had them come to me with that. I've had them come to me and say, well, just remember, the irrigation schedule, is Tuesday and Saturday. This is an escalation of action here.
Mhm.
And it's kind of frightening,
Jim, are the other courses in the county under the same restrictions?
The county is not a consideration, just the city of Norwalk is. Because SNU has a very small section of Wilton that they serve. Silvermine falls under the restriction as well. And the superintendent there, him and I are talking, and we'll be, going at this together, hopefully.
So you're saying that Sterling Farms isn't under restriction?
They're under Aquarian. Nothing to do with SNEW.
Is Shorehaven under the same thing as you guys?
Shorehaven has enough wells to provide water for Kenya, so
Got it.
it's not an issue for them anymore.
Yeah.
They used to draw water.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, just sitting here listening to this, it seems like it's crazy that we even have to talk about having water to a golf course. So I think whatever we need to do as a unit to bring this to whoever we need to bring it to say, guys, if you have any interest in us staying in business and continuing to provide what we provide, we need water. It's golf courses run. I don't know. That's just my perspective of listening to what's going on, right? It just seems like pretty common sense.
Right.
Yeah, I think Robert has a good point is we have competitors here and you're going to put us out of business.
Yep.
Okay. But there is a plan, I think, in place. And I'm going to send a couple of notes, ideas that just discussion points that I think would add to the whole thing. I'll send it to a group. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, thank you.
I gotta
Joe,
say,
for
it's
your
been
service.
fun. It's been
I have
fun.
one more.
1 second.
I have one more thing.
Oh, one more thing. Okay.
One more thing. I was going to suggest that maybe next week, maybe Wednesday or Thursday, we can corral whoever's available with you and go out and have a drink at Odine's if you're available.
Sure, I can check my availability. Yeah.
Let us know if a Wednesday or Thursday might work for you.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm in. If it's Thursday, I'm in.
That's great, Denise.
Yeah, good idea.
It's a good idea. It's a great idea.
7 o'clock. 7 o'clock
Yeah.
at Odine's Thursday.
Sounds great.
Sound good?
Perfect.
Yeah.
And before we adjourn, let's hear from John Lloyd.
Oh, we didn't have a restaurant update.
Oh, John, you've been in the dark the whole time.
Good point.
Hi, folks. Nice
Hi,
to see
John.
everyone.
Yeah.
Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. So I guess the last 30 days, we've been going from strength to strength. Every week and every day, we're seeing incremental improvements. Certainly the fixed published hours is providing some predictability for the golfers. The breakfast is growing, still a lot to improve upon, but lunches are getting stronger. And now with the good weather, we're getting pretty good, consistent dinner numbers. Customer feedback is very positive on service and food quality, and the menu continues to kind of get honed down and refined. The halfway house and the carts are running every day now. The golf outings have been broadly successful, with the organizers, by and large, kind of articulating their pleasure with the way in which we've helped provide their guests a good experience. And we've got through some of the less should we say, advantageous outings for the restaurant, where the outing organizers bring their own food and drink. But we've been clear to them that this year we've been in good faith and treated it as a transition year. And the next year we will not allow outside food and beverages onto the course for the outings. And we certainly appreciate the support of Oak Hills and reinforcing this message, knowing that a better deal for the operator will ultimately mean a better deal for Oak Hills. We've successfully hosted a number of private parties and engagements while simultaneously keeping the restaurant open at all times for the golfers and the members of the public. It's a really beautiful space and we're proud to be there. And we feel it is possible to balance our commitment to the golfing community regarding the daily use of the restaurant, whilst also making use of the opportunities that the private parties offer to us. And that's pretty much it. I guess the last 30 days, the restaurant operation has made $143,000.
I
Wow.
presume that's food and beverage, right, John? So obviously we break out the food part of that for our little piece.
That's a gross number all in, but it's certainly a positive. It's a positive number for us.
And the transparency, we've never heard that number before in a meeting.
Yes.
So I can't thank you enough. The operations, the transparency being here, it's great.
So John, just a quick thing, John, if I may. As far as the point of sale is concerned, I did sit down with Mark for a bit, and I think you guys are sharing now the information. We have the ability to go into Toast, which is the POS system. And Mark, are you and John working on that? So we're breaking out the food and the beverage and stuff like that, and we're getting what we need.
I worked more with Marshall Odine on that.
Oh, Marshall, okay.
Yeah, he gave me. I'm all set up. So is Jim Holiday. I've gone in and I've ran some reports, and he kind of told me which report to run. The issue that we have, or at least that we had, and I don't know, John, if you could tell me if it's been fixed now, is that there was no breakout of alcohol, which we definitely need. So everyone's aware.
That's all being fixed.
Okay.
That was just a question of sales categories.
Will it be retroactive? Will we be able to go out and pick out everything we've had for the full quarter? That's my only.
No, unfortunately, you can't retroactively apply it. We're going to have to run reports and do the kind of the hard maths to pass it out. But that's a simple exercise.
Okay, sounds good. We'll work through that.
Great.
Excellent.
Good.
Okay. Say, John, I had lunch there today. The food is really good. And one of the tennis friends had one of the private functions on Tuesday and just raved about the service and the quality of the food. So thank you very much. I think it's really
thank you. It's
word of mouth.
Really, yeah, it's good to get such positive feedback, and we owe a lot to the team of people that are working there. They're really working hard in trying to establish the business and realizing that we've all got to pitch in to raise the water level there. So we're lucky to have the people that we've got.
So John, I like the mask from Zimbabwe on the wall there, you know.
That is from Burkina Faso, but yes, right continent.
I have heard, John, that you used to wash dishes at Wimbledon. Is that true? Is that one of your early starts?
Yep, that's true. I thought that was going to be the end of my my short career in the restaurant industry.
Great.
Okay. I will make a motion to adjourn.
Actually, Joe, can I?
TJ, you wanted to talk about
yeah,
the first tee.
just a couple minutes. I want to fill everybody on the first tee thing. So I had a call with the first tee group this morning and just spoke to them for a little bit, and they filled me in on some of the stuff that they're looking to do and that they would like to do, or at least have an opportunity to have a conversation with all of us about what could be possible. And so they are really interested in getting involved in the community in Fairfield County, specifically Norwalk and Stamford, The whole First Tee program is really about kids in the community, but there's also potentially a benefit for us, meaning Oak Hills, and there's a lot of potential things that they could possibly do. Don't know if any of them make sense for us, but I do think it's worth hearing them out and at least opening a discussion with them about what could be possible, and if it could benefit Oak Hills and it could benefit the community and it could benefit kids that don't necessarily have a chance to be able to get into golf where they could make an impact. I think it's worth at least listening for a little bit. So I told them that I was going to come on here tonight and just see if everyone would be up for maybe giving them 10-15 minutes on our next call to just introduce themselves and let us hear what they have to say and see what direction it could potentially go in. And if it could benefit us, then maybe it's something worth talking about. I know that the long range planning committee that I'm absolutely willing to be a part of and want to do something with that. I think that maybe there could be something there with that. But I think 10 or 15 minutes in hearing them out would be absolutely worth it to us. And so I just wanted to fill everyone in on that and see where everybody lands. I will report back to them and see if that works. And hopefully we can have them in next meeting and hear what they have to say.
So CJ, do you think it'd be worth like getting 3 or 4 of us on the committee like we had like the restaurant guy, we had 3 or 4 people. If we choose 3 or 4 people from the authority to kind of have a little group and meet with them like that, so do you think we should be the whole authority? Either way is fine.
I think I'm okay either way. I think if 3 or 4 of us want to go on and hear them out first, and see a little bit. I mean, I did hear some things today about what could be possible. They've absolutely done some research on Oak Hills and the history and just a bunch of different things. But yeah, I think that 3 or 4 of us, we could put that together, get on a call with them. We can hear them out and then just see what direction, if any, we should take it next.
Sure, and I'd be happy. Like we put together, I'll contact everybody on the sea who wants to be involved, and we'll get 3, 4, 5 of us together and set up a meeting either in person or Zoom, whichever works, and start the dialogue.
Sure, love it. Okay. Yeah, that sounds great. So we'll do that. We'll do that offline. I'll get back to them and I'll tell them that that's what we're going to do.
And I'll be in touch with you, and we'll come up. Just put together a group, and we'll take it from there. 100%.
Sounds good.
Okay.
TJ, who did you speak to?
So I spoke to Mark Moriarty, Rochelle, and Ken. His last name's escaping me right now. But Mark and Ken and Rochelle are all part of the Fairfield County group. So they do a bunch of stuff up at TPC in Cromwell. And they had some interesting things to say. But at the end of the day, it was really about how could they benefit the community? How could they benefit kids? And ultimately, they feel like it could potentially be a partnership where it could be really good for the golf course. And so I think it's absolutely worth the conversation.
I agree with you. It's worth a conversation. I only talked to Rochelle, who seems to be new.
Yeah.
And didn't have as much detail as you seem to be laying out here. I think before a meeting, they ought to send us a couple of pages of what their plan is and what their stuff is, so we can just look at that, so we have a little bit of input. But I kind of agree. I think we ought to meet in person first before we include them in an agenda item here.
Sure, love it. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, so Alan, yeah, if you can just send out,
I'll do that. Yeah,
that would be great.
Got it.
Alan, I'm willing to work with you on this one, so let me know.
Very appreciate it. And
I think Paul, if you would be willing to be part of it, I think it would be really helpful as well.
I think that'd be important for you guys.
Yeah.
Okay, that was it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for taking
TJ,
care.
nice
of
to see
it.
you.
All right. Now I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Hey,
Do I
hey,
have a
Joe.
second?
Hey,
Finally,
Joe.
right?
Yeah.
I wanted to say something about you too, Joe. You've been really
Oh.
easy to work with. Our initial discussions a year ago about other things, you've always been really easy to work with. And I think you provided real good leadership to this group. And I think you are an asset to, volunteerism on boards or whatever. And so I don't think I'd like to talk to you about another doing something else, but I can talk to you offline about something else. We, really got our eyes on that right now on creating the Park Foundation, and we've created a very successful one in Seattle, and it really takes dedicated people. And I'd like to talk to you about that. Offline.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect. And thank you.
Keep Joe busy.
Yeah, keep busy. We don't want to let you get away, Joe.
Yeah. I'll get rusty.
Yeah.
Any seconds on that motion to adjourn?
I'll make a second.
All right. Rich, thank you. Any opposed?
No.
Thanks, everybody. It's been
Joe, thanks very
Thank
much.
you.
Have a good night,
Well,
everyone.
Joe.
Thanks,
Good
Joe.
night, everyone.
Night.
Take
See you
care.
next Thursday at 7 at Odin's.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yes.
Great.
Okay, good night.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Good night.